All right. We're live for another edition of Sloppy Sunday, my occasionally weekly live stream where I complain about anything and everything and also provide some sort of update on my unsuccessful career in stand-up comedy. Thank you for tuning in and having a little bit of cat issues today. My cat, it's he for 10 years. He wakes me up at 4 in the morning to eat. It's just become part of the routine. I'm used to it by now. But he has this ability to kick a turd out of his litter box, where litter box is here, turd can be all the way over here on the other side of the room. I don't know how he does it. He has the accuracy of like one of the finest punters in the NFL, like how they can punt the ball 70 yards and peg it right inside of the 5 yard line. Um, he can do that where litter box is here, all the way on the other side of the room is a turd laying on the floor that is right in the path of where I walk to feed him at 4 in the morning. And sure enough, I step in it every time. This morning at 4 a.m., sure enough, I'm just stumbling to his dish to feed him. And something didn't feel right about the step that I made. And sure enough, when I walk back to my room, then I start to smell it. And I was like, oh crap, I stepped in a cat turd. And, I forced myself to go back to sleep. And then when I get up again, I have poo prints across the floor from where his litter box and his dish is at to my bedroom of fresh cat poop that I stepped in. And I got poo prints all the way leading back to my bedroom. So that was fun, cleaning that up, and then also, of course, the scent of fresh cat poo is something that is just terrible, absolutely awful. And yeah, so that was yeah. We have some Wilson in the chat. Wilson, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. And yeah, Tyler, been there. I think it's worse than stepping in the surprise hairball. Oh yeah. Now Tyler, I know you have quite a few cats. So you know about the stray turd that is somehow ends up 12 feet outside of the cat box. Um, I don't know how he does it. It's again, litter box is here, piece of poo is laying all the way over here, and it's right in the path of where I step in it almost every time. But yeah, so that's how my morning went this morning. And he has this ability to for 10 years I've had him. He wakes me up at 4 in the morning on the dot. His internal clock is like a finely calibrated piece of Swiss engineering. It really is. Like it's amazing how at 4 in the morning he can wake me up when he wants to eat. And here's what cat logic too. He used to do what cats typically would do when they want to get you out of bed. They climb all over you. They paw at you, they scratch you, do whatever. He doesn't do any of that. He used to do that, but then he learned that's not effective with me, because then I just ignore him, and then eventually he would give up. But then what he started doing was he'll after he was crawling all over me and that didn't get me out of bed to feed him, so then he would go out into the living room and start knocking things over. And eventually that would force me out of bed so I can feed him. And but cat logic, he's caught on that okay, climbing all over him doesn't get Chris out of bed to feed me, but going out into the living room and knocking things over does get him out of bed to feed me. So when he gets up at 4 in the morning, he just goes straight into the living room and starts knocking things over to get me out of bed. He doesn't crawl all over me. He doesn't scratch at me or anything like that at 4 in the morning. He just goes straight out into the living room and starts knocking things over. every morning. I can't have a drink coaster anywhere, pens, anything that is sitting on a table, on an end table, coffee table, magazines. They'll be all over the floor every morning when I get up. It doesn't. It never fails. Every morning, I can't have drink coasters anywhere. But yeah, that's what he's like. Cats just have stupid strong legs. Yeah, to kick those turds out of their litter box. Yeah. Yeah, and what he'll do too is it's like he's mocking me where I'll clean the floor, like I'll sweep and I'll mop and the floor is all clean and he gets into his litter box and he's just there just kicking litter out onto the floor. But like it's like it's like, "Oh yeah, oh, you want a clean floor, huh? Yeah, here we go." And so and I see him, he's just there just kicking litter out onto the floor. Uh I don't know why, but the joy of owning cats. I never owned a cat, even though I kept thinking of getting one. You know, it's like everyone ends up owning a cat at some point. A lot of times you don't want one, you just kind of end up with one. I ended up with him um, 10 years ago. You know, I ended up on an email list of cats that were up for adoption, and I got the email, and it was a typical one of those tear jerker type of photos of him looking all cute in a box and all that. And you're just like, oh, I just gotta go check it out. You know, I just want to pet him. I'm not gonna take him home, you know. And yeah, so I did that and I ended up taking him home. But yeah, pumping vinyl. Hello, good to see you. Malia's in the chat. What a douchebag. Yeah, yeah, he is a douchebag, definitely. Absolutely. But so tonight's chat, couple things. One of those is Thanksgiving has just passed, and a tradition of Thanksgiving is Black Friday. It's Black Friday is just not like what it used to be anymore. Thanksgiving dinner also a big part of this week. You know, type of meal you only eat it once a year. If you ate it twice a year, you'd probably end up in the hospital. Um, but that got me thinking more about food because the stream that I did 2 weeks ago about how foodie culture is destroying America and it must be stopped. I started thinking more about restaurants and how we've been told repeatedly support small business, eat local, you know, small business Friday or Saturday or whatever it is that they call it. I'm finally comfortable admitting that I like corporate restaurants. I like chain restaurants, Olive Garden, PF Chang's, Longhorn Steakhouse. I like corporate restaurants. I like eating corporate. It's something. It's taken me a long time to feel comfortable saying that because we're shunned. You know, I've lived in cities for most of my life, and you know, there's always the mom and pop taqueria, and you know, the small run halal cart, and all of that, and that's fine. But you know what? Lately, I've really been craving PF Chang's, like really. And you know what's great about PF Chang's too is it's attached to a mall where you can go and you can, you know, buy some clothes while you're there. You could buy some shoes, something like that. We've been told that it's wrong to enjoy corporate restaurants. You're supposed to eat local. And you know what? I have no problem saying this. I like corporate restaurants. I do. All of them. All of them. I think moving forward, I'm only going to eat at corporate restaurants now. Part of this is that tacos, there's such a stark contrast in tacos. Everywhere you go, everything needs to be an authentic taco nowadays. It needs to be, you know, the street taco with the corn tortilla, and you know, you have your carnitas or your chicken or whatever with cilantro and onions, and you know that's fine. It's good, but sometimes I want a good white person taco, Where can you go to find a white person taco nowadays? A corporate restaurant. That's where you go. And I'm talking, the hard shell with the ground meat, cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, sour cream, good amount of seasoning, but not too much. A good white person taco. I really like white people tacos. And you can't find them anywhere nowadays. We're being Taco Bell. I mean that's really the only place where you go. Even Chipotle and places like that don't have white people tacos. There's some sort of like they need to flavor it up. Something like that. I'm talking the white people tacos where you get the El Paso taco kit in the grocery store and you come home and you fry up some beef and you make your tacos and that's what you like. And this is what really got me thinking about how much I love corporate restaurants because that's where you can go to find good white people tacos. Yeah. And let me see here. PF Chang's. I don't know what chop suey is, and I don't know a single person who's ever had. I've never had chop suey. Um, General Tso's chicken. That's all you need. That's all you need. Maybe some sweet and sour shrimp, something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, cilantro. Give us the fixins exactly. Maybe some black olives on that, and a little bit of taco sauce, something like that. Maybe with some refried beans. That's what I want. And it is getting to be so difficult to find white people tacos anywhere. It's like everything needs to be an authentic taco nowadays, or not an authentic taco. They call it street style. That's the marketing behind it is street style tacos and with the cilantro and the onion. I get it, it's good, all that, but sometimes I just want some good white people tacos, and it's getting more and more difficult to find it. Just like my rant a couple weeks ago about burgers and just finding just a regular cheeseburger is getting more and more difficult to just find a regular cheeseburger somewhere because everywhere needs to have a brioche roll and they need to have goat cheese on the burger and raspberry jam and all this fancy stuff where it's not even a cheeseburger anymore. It's something that it wasn't meant to be. And yeah, so cilantro, the bane of my existence. It tastes okay. Now, so cilantro is people have a gene to either appreciate the taste of cilantro or they think it tastes like dirt. I think cilantro sometimes is good, but not on my tacos. I'm telling you, I just want regular tacos. That's all I want. Street style is a way to use cheaper ingredients. Yeah, yeah. And again, a food cart, summertime, like a street taco with a Modelo, something like with a wedge of lime in it. Hey, it's good stuff. But what about when I'm in the mood for a white people tacos? You know what? I think what I should do, and this would be a good business venture to get into, is to open a food truck and just call it white people tacos. And that's all that you serve is white people tacos with the hard shell or a soft flour shell too. I like the soft shell ones sometimes with your ground beef, taco seasoning, lettuce, tomato, cheddar cheese, sour cream, some chopped up black olives, and just name the food truck White People Tacos. It's all you got to cut. And I'm telling you, there will be a line around the block of people who are like, yeah, I want some white people tacos. Hell yeah, this is what I've been waiting for because you can't find them anywhere anymore because foodie culture has been telling us that everything needs to be street style, everything needs to be artisan, everything needs to be locally sourced. Tired of it. Tired of it. So yeah. Yeah. Yep. I hear you, man. I hear you. But yeah, and Thanksgiving just passed. So now Thanksgiving dinner is a wonderful meal. It really is. This year, I don't. I don't have much family local. I didn't get to have the Thanksgiving meal this year with the family. My parents are way far out of state. I didn't travel at all. I didn't get to have Thanksgiving meal, but I think universally we can all agree everybody loves Thanksgiving dinner. The turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, green bean casseroles, good stuff, all of that. And some people mix it up. Some have macaroni and cheese, some have cornbread. It's all good. And I was wondering, why is it that fast food places have never caught on to this? Imagine if you could pull up to a drive-through and order like a Thanksgiving dinner combo to go. Like you pull up to the drive-through and you're like, "Yeah, I'll take two Thanksgiving dinners with a Diet Coke and extra gravy, please." And then they tell you how much, and then you pull around. Why is it no one's ever thought of that? Why is it that pizza places don't have a drive-through where you can get a day-old slice in the morning? Imagine if you show up on your way to work, maybe you had a couple beers the night before, and you know what? I'm going to swing by Pizza Hut and get a couple cold slices. And then they just charge you like $1, something like that for a day old slice. Get a couple slices on your way to work. I don't understand why no one's ever thought of that before. I think it's a good business idea. And then also I was wondering too, what is the most of all of the like breakfast food that's questionable? Like, should you really be eating this for breakfast? I was thinking that probably seafood is probably like if Long John Silver's had breakfast, it would be kind of weird, like uh, Taco Bell has gotten into having breakfast food with their crunch wraps. But what about if Long John Silver's decided to get into that, like a, a cod and egg sandwich, or something like that, some hush puppies with eggs and sausage. I like fish sausage. I don't know. It would be weird, but I think that they should try it. You notice how there haven't been many Long John Silvers anywhere. I think that maybe if the people at Long John Silver's headquarters, they were like, you know what, we need to jump on this breakfast thing. I think that's why people are starting to forget that we exist, because we're not serving cod with muffins with eggs and sausage in the morning. Anyways, or Arthur Treachers. There's still like an Arthur Treachers on the East Coast, which was sort of like the maybe a step up from Long John Silver's, and on there's one in Maryland, I think, off of the Turnpike. You can go to an Arthur Treachers, and I think that they had crab cakes from what I remember. But yeah, so that was just what I was thinking about Thanksgiving dinner is, why is it that fast food restaurants have not caught on to the idea of serving Thanksgiving dinner at a drive-through that you can order. Uh yeah. And then Black Friday. Okay, so Black Friday, I have a history of I've worked in retail on the corporate side, and also when I was younger, I worked on the floor too for retailers. And one thing that I've noticed over the years is that Black Friday bloodshed just is of doesn't exist anymore. It's of retail yesteryear, sort of like the death of the shopping mall. I guess dying malls and dying Black Friday have they coincide with each other. There's you don't see. I remember the days of just being an observer and just watching riots break out. People get into fist fights over a flat screen TV that's 75% off, like some off-brand flat screen that it'll last you a year and a half before it dies, but people get into fights over these things. Or some off-brand DVD player that's $30 that nowadays they're either all in a landfill somewhere or at some pawn shop where they can't even pay you to take the DVD players off of their hands. But whatever happened to this? It's all gone. You don't hear about Black Friday riots anymore. There were always the people who they would camp out overnight in sub-zero weather. They would get in line at 3 in the morning, and then you see them, and they're like they have their faces pressed up against the door, waiting to get in, and then the doors start to open up, and they start crawling over each other, and they're just like a herd of cattle. They just race into the store, go straight for the flat screens, the DVD players. I remember when I was younger and I worked for a retailer, that was a stack of bath towels that were something like 90% off. And people would just go and just grab stacks of hand towels and just throw them. Like they weren't even counting it. They were just grabbing them. Just I guess it's Americans' addiction to buying cheap shit, just buying all of these hand towels, just filling up their carts with it. Like, why are you buying these many hand towels for just because they're cheap? But yeah, there was always a fight. There was always, the cops out front, the people getting into arguments over a flat screen, and you just don't hear about it anymore. I guess it's because everything has shifted online, so everybody just shops online now. They don't get up at 3 a.m. and camp out, and then get into fights over a flat screen anymore. And it's kind of unfortunate because it's become a holiday. It was a holiday tradition to always watch it on the news, and I would always just like scratch my head, just wondering, who are these people? Why why are they camping out overnight, getting into fights? uh you know they end up needing stitches all just to get a flat screen that is going to last them maybe a year before it dies. Yeah, I don't know, it's sad. I wish that I think it was a good holiday tradition that should make a comeback. Millennials prolific of artisanal and street style foods. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think cold pizza and warm beer, breakfast of champions during my university days. Yeah, yeah, I hear you, Wilson. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking about is whatever happened to Black Friday, Black Friday riots. They're gone. People would have the store specked out. Like I remember when I worked for a retailer, you would see people come in the day before, and they would start having the end caps, getting the end caps set up, and people would scope out where everything's located, so that way when they get into the store, they know right where to go, like where all the best stuff's going to be. And they're like, okay, we got to go here, these aisles here, get that first. Like they would have everything mapped out of where they're going to go. Nobody does that anymore. I on Friday, I went out. I went to a couple places, and everywhere was like quiet. There weren't any crowds. I mean, I was thinking to myself, it was eerie in a way. It was kind of like, it's a little too quiet. What does that mean? Is it's just that people just aren't comfortable with the state of the economy, which is probably also part of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate. But yeah, cat turd on the floor, chain restaurants. I'm telling you, I really like chain restaurants. It's for years. If you were when I lived in New York, it was, oh yeah, go to the mom and pop place on the corner and all that. I wish that there was a PF Chang's on the corner because I really like PF Chang's a lot. Um, yeah, yeah. Thanksgiving dinner. Black Friday riots. I had a stream scheduled about guys with cool hair that I'm going to push that back to next week, because once I started to kind of work on some content for the stream about guys who have cool hair who really annoy me, it's a sensitive topic to me, and I started to really pour my emotions into it. So in a future episode next week or so, that's where I'm really going to get into the guys who have cool hair who annoy me. Because again, something I've never experienced, having cool hair ever. Um, I've never known what it's like to have cool hair. Just the genes that I inherited from my mother's side. Cool hairs not encoded in our DNA at all, among a few other things too. But cool hair is definitely not part of it. When I had a full head of hair, I still couldn't even really do anything with it. It just was there, and then it all started falling out. So stay tuned. I have a future stream coming up about how much irritated I get by guys who have cool hair and always feel the need to flaunt their cool hair in front of me. Um, it's kind of like having never gotten that hug, from a male role model or anything like that. I would put never having cool hair right par with that of never knowing what that feels like of to have cool hair. Um, yeah, never being able to toss my hair or flip it or run my hands through it and just feel cool, or slick it back, slicking your hair back, kind of like Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, that like 80s Wall Street tycoon type of hair. It's awesome stuff. It's awesome stuff, definitely. And I've never known what it's like to have cool hair, and it's something that just really, yeah, never. Anyways, yeah, future episode. Also coming up, I've been getting some reader emails. The email address right down here, professional.complainer.rants@gmail.com. Send me an email of anything that you'd like me to complain about, and I can complain about anything. Just throw it at me. Be tasteful. All right, so don't just throw anything at me. I think we know what I'm talking about here, but yeah, anything you want me to complain about. I've gotten a couple emails with a couple good ideas for things to complain about, and I will be complaining about those in a future episode. And also, I got one of those was from an AOL email account. Imagine about that, because yeah, I ranted about how my mother still uses AOL, and then sure enough, in my inbox, I get an AOL an email with a topic to rant about, and it's from an AOL email account. So throw anything you have that you want me to complain about. Shoot me an email to that address. Can you complain about Crocs? Wilson, you've come to the man. I am the man for that. I can complain a lot about Crocs. I have, yeah, I've been waiting to complain about Crocs. So yeah, anyways, yeah, thank you, Tyler. And yeah, you know what, I have some complaining to do too about the metal YouTube community. There's one YouTuber out there that I really am gonna, I have something to complain about, and it's gonna blow up the YouTubes. Just wait. Once I unleash my complaining rage, it's gonna turn YouTube upside down. Um. Anyways, so yeah, that's comedy. I did a little bit of stand up last week. Didn't really do much this week. Um, got, you know, but was doing some old material, some really old stuff. And my early stand up, I was sort of, uh, s- uh, I would write jokes that were kind of like Stephen Wright ish, who was one of my favorite comedians of all time. And he still is. Stephen Wright, definitely one of my all time favorite comedians. The problem with Stephen Wright type of material is that any comedian who tries to write that style of material is just trying to be like Stephen Wright. It's the what was the surreal um, third person perspective type of comedy, the one liners. I have some material like that. Um, and I was pulling it out and working on some old stuff, but it's like you're in character and then stepping out of character. It's a little tricky of trying to be yourself, but then also trying to be something else that you're not yourself. You're yourself, and then you're not yourself. It's like the fourth wall, or something like that. Yeah, going back through old material, I have a joke about one of my goals in comedy is to write jokes about the absolute most boring topic you can imagine. And I have a joke that's pretty good, that's gotten a good response in the past about drinking water. So, I mean, it's a challenge to really write something like how can I write a joke about drinking water and make that funny and people laugh? And I did. I wrote a joke about drinking water and people laugh about it. And I have a video of that too, that I think I'll probably edit and maybe post a clip online of my joke about drinking water and people laugh. Other ideas that I want to work on is cardboard. I'm sure there's got to be something there of trying to write jokes about the most boring topics imaginable. Cardboard, it's got to be right up there. There's got to be something there. Styrofoam. There's got to be something about styrofoam that's funny. Um, Picking up your dry cleaning. That's the type of material that I'm want to work on. Is what is the absolute most boring thing that people deal with, and how can I somehow make that funny? And yeah, so that's And yeah, I've been getting some good comments from people. Seems like people really like the show that I did a few weeks ago about almost pooping my pants. Um, that one's gotten some good feedback from people. I'm thinking that maybe we'll have an open panel sometime where people can jump on screen and we'll all share stories about the time that we all almost pooped our pants, or maybe someone did poop their pants. It happens to everyone. It's laugh all you want. Someday you'll be the person pooping your pants. Um, but yeah, I'm sure that's a good use of resources for all of us to be on screen and share stories about the time that we almost all pooped our pants. Anyways, so for today, that's really all that I have. We're going on about 30 minutes, which is right where I like to keep the stream at. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.